am Dr. Joan Coleman, and the Exchange is exciting.
I'm Denise Cavalier. The Exchange is real.
I'm Carolyn Poiker. The Exchange is empowering.
I'm Donna Hutchinson. The Exchange is thought-provoking.
The Exchange, a Let Me Be Me podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Exchange. I am Dr. Joan Coleman. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, okay? And that's Franklin D. Roosevelt. But before we get into that, Donna, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Donna Hutchinson.
Carolyn Poiker.
Denise Cavalier.
And fear is the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And I have a little definition for fear. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about fear. If you didn't get it at first, yes, we're talking about fear. False evidence appearing real. And I looked up the definition of fear. It's dread, it's fright, it's alarm, it's panic, it's terror. All right? It's an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipating or awareness of danger. Do you guys agree with that definition?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That feels very present. Yes.
Why? Why do you agree with that?
I think, we're constantly afraid of what's to come, aren't we? I mean, we just had a show, our last show that we recorded was about trust, but I think there is still always a little bit of fear. So that's where most of it comes from, right? Either from past of what has happened to us or the future.
Well, the way you said that is fear an emotion or a feeling?
Is there a difference?
Yeah.
I think anxiety is when you're dealing with something that's maybe not so concrete, whereas fear is usually like more of a physical response to something you see, hear, something you sense. So I think there's like a little bit of a difference.
You do think there's a difference between fear and anxiety?
There is.
And that there's a difference in emotion and feeling? This
Yes.
is all interesting.
Yes.
I want to hear it.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys are going deep right away here.
Yeah, tell me more.
Yeah, 'cause- well, when I think about fear right away, I think fear has a purpose, like a good purpose, like if a tiger is chasing you, like it's meant to get your legs moving, right? But I think that we move it into other areas of our life where maybe it's not really needed. But
Absolutely.
I'm not sure, like when you're talking about an emotion versus
Feeling.
a feeling.
Yeah, because fear, you get into your emotions. You're not sure. You're like, like you just said, anxious. You're like, oh my God. But a feeling is like, I don't feel good today. You're not going to say, I feel fearful today. You know what I mean? Fear, it's emotion like, oh my gosh, you're going on a hayride and you know something is coming around the corner. So you're waiting for it, but you're not feeling like, oh, something is coming around the corner. You absolutely know, right? So your emotions take over. Your emotions like, it's coming. But with your feeling, it's something you like, it's a feeling like an instinct. But fear isn't an instinct. It's an emotion.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's such, because it's like, it's not a predictor of truth. I like that a lot.
But I would say I do have days where I'm like, I feel fearful, and I'm not really sure what it is, but I feel like a weird, creepy fear.
Yeah.
And I can't identify it. So what is it then?
It's probably how you woke up. It might have been something you dreamt or you just woke up and you're like, when you wake up sometime and you're like, blah, or you don't want to go, and it's connected to something. You know what I mean? It's not just out of the blue, oh, I'm fearful, I feel fearful. It's connected to some kind of emotion. What has you feeling that way? Is it you got to go to a job interview or you got to go see somebody you don't really want to see and you're just emotional about how it's going to turn out? You're fearful.
Mine are disconnected sometimes. Like sometimes it's a free floating, like a feeling of something bad is going to happen.
Wow.
But I don't have any evidence.
I will say, I've really had to split for myself lately that just because I feel fear does not mean it's intuition. Because I was going to say, maybe you're having an intuitive feeling, but that doesn't mean it's truth.
No.
And I need to remind myself of that often. Like, even if I feel like fear, that doesn't necessarily mean there's truth in
Correct.
And even though you say you feel disconnected, when you feel like that again, or you think you're feeling that, I need you to see what's connected. Like, even though you say nothing's connected to it, see what plays before you have that. You have that feeling, and see what comes up. What's your thought? You're really thinking over there.
Well, you guys are bringing up a lot, so I feel like my brain is like, ah. I have always had a lot of anxiety. So I do think anxiety and fear are different, but I think somehow they're also kind of related. I am definitely the kind of person who can have a feeling of dread, a feeling something's not right, a feeling like I'm going to get a call or somebody's going to come to the door and there's going to be some bad news. And I can spiral out of control really fast. And like, you know, my whole family's dead. And it's like, what are you doing to yourself, you know? It's almost like we're letting our thoughts like almost be like so unkind and violent, you know, to ourselves. So I think it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's powerful. It's fear can really, really stop you from making progress because you're just too afraid to move.
And that is so good because I do that too. You know, I'm just laying there. Then I start thinking about my kids that's not home anymore. Next thing you know, it's a whole thing. And I have to flip that around. You have to be like, nope, stop right now. So that's how you know it's an emotion because you could talk to it. Stop it. No, that's not happening, you know, and turn that thought around because it's like an instance. As soon as you start, I wonder how they're doing. Next thing you know, it's a whole car thing and, you know, all kinds of thing at a party happening. And so you have to flip that. Nope, not today. Nope, that's a lie. That's a lie. So how do you flip fear when it comes onto you or enters into your emotions?
Well, I have a question that I'm going to propose to the group about something
sure.
I'm fearful of right now. When I was a child, about 10 years old, I got in a car accident. Nothing major, just a fender bender type thing. This has come back so hard into my life. I was driving on a road around here that I always did, and all of a sudden panic came on. And since then, I can't drive on highways. And even riding with my husband, I get very anxious. That fear is so physically present in my body. Everything is like this. Every time a car passes up, I'm convinced it's going to be terrible. And I have no idea how to like work, because I can self-talk myself. You're safe. You're fine.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. But that fear is so physically present in my physical body that
It's almost like it's a trauma. It's actually a trauma you
Yeah.
need to release.
PTSD.
but I have no idea how to release it. Help me.
I mean, same thing only thing I could think of is you speak to it. You're lying. That's a lie. That's a lie. Nothing will ever happen to me like that again. I went through it before, so I know what it is. It will never happen again. That's what, it sounds weird. It sounds like, that's not going to really work.
I get you.
But the more you say it, the more, that's what I've been doing lately. The more you put seeds, you plant it, and water it, it's going to grow.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while. It's not going to happen overnight, but you have to start somewhere. Do you agree with that, Carolyn or Denise?
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, the atheists might come after me too, but I think for me it involves prayer. It involves really like casting these things out and asking to be delivered from them. It, you know, for me, I try to start my day. If I remember to say, Alexa, play Fernando Ortega when I'm getting ready in the morning, I always have a better day. Just sets me on that path.
Because here I said, fear is a vital response to emotional danger, you know, and the brain help us to identify the threat. So when your brain is like telling you, you know, you have to say, okay, brain, thank you for the reminder, but not today. I'm not going anywhere. And with that just came to mind. You have to remember, you are here on purpose, right? So until you fulfill that purpose, fear can't take you out or nothing else. You know, do you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, for me, I think it's like grounding. Grounding activities are really, really helpful for me. Being outside, going for a walk, barefoot is really ideal. So there are certain things that will be really helpful when I have like free floating fear like that. But what Donna's talking about, I think is a little bit different. It's like actually PTSD, I think, and I have had similar problems with that. And the answer is maybe not always so simple. I mean, you can do grounding activities in the car, but you're in a vehicle now, so you're limited. You know, wait, could you pull over? Let me take off my shoes.
So it's not fear. So is it fear?
I do think it is fear that's connected to a past event, rather than, so maybe, you know, when you're in fear, it very often you are in the past. But you could be in the future too, like sort of, you know. So then it gets a little bit tricky. Like this is a really big topic.
Yeah.
Because it involves a lot of different things. And so, yeah. But I think having tools, it's always for me, it's that toolkit. Like, what are the things that help me when I'm in this space mentally? And they're different for everybody. Yeah.
Carolyn.
There are, there's a series of exercises called trauma releasing exercise that you can look into. And of course, I could share with you essential oils that will help you release all that stuff. But I think it's related, but it is different. I think trauma is different. But
Yeah.
Peppermint oil. Isn't peppermint oil, that's been given to me before, like when you are feeling, really anxious and whatever, that peppermint is very grounding. But you're the expert.
Peppermint actually is very joyful, and it sort of forces you to take a deep breath. So it's helpful to bring you out of anxiety because you ground yourself by taking a deep breath.
Right.
And it's very joyful. And it's like, it lifts you up. And that's like kind of a little bit like the opposite of fear. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good point too. That the joy is the opposite of fear. So just being like, oh, I can go to this side of the coin to kind of cultivate that more than the fear.
And
Gratitude.
even in the car, you could turn on some music that makes you forget about the trauma that you went through. Something joyous, something that you're like, oh, I love this. And then you'll forget. You'll still have it, but for that moment, it'll pass. So are our brains hardwired for fear? Because sometimes fear isn't necessarily a bad thing, is it? Or are we hardwired for fear?
I think so.
And is fear a bad thing? Let's put those two together.
I mean, going back to the reason it's there was thinking back to when our ancestors were running from lions. Like, yes, that's definitely
I don't know if mine was running from lions, but go ahead.
that's definitely a primitive instinct, I should say. Now I feel silly. Go on. Somebody else take the mic.
It's about a threat. It's about a threat. What would
About
you
a
say?
threat. Yeah.
Wait.
It's good. It's good. Her
So
cheeks
maybe
is all
we-
red.
They are.
Go ahead.
If we come to that, what do we perceive as being threatening to us? Why are we afraid? Identifying the threat. Is it real? So maybe that's part of, is this really a threat to me, or am I just perceiving this? Have I twisted it? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think we are hardwired. And I think fear can be helpful because if you are outside and you are seeing something happen that you need to get out of the way of this danger, like that's going to be a time where that is positive. But we are hardwired. It is in our brain, and our brains like to go back to what they know, which is why we have to keep doing the self-talk and bring ourselves out of it.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to undo that.
Yeah.
How did we get from the lions to this, applying that fear to other areas of our life, though? I wonder, where did that get messed up or something? Like it was only meant for,
Survival.
survival and a real threat. But
Do you think the threat came in when you actually saw the lion eating the person? Or tearing them apart? That's
would
when
do
the
it for
threat
me.
came in and said, maybe we shouldn't chase lions, and that's where then our brain gets hardwired, and then we're like, we're not going there,
Well, and then there's the part too where if that gets kicked on, our reasoning brain gets kicked off. So then we can't think clearly, we can't think rational thoughts because we're in survival mode. And that's a big conversation because how much are we actually living in survival mode all the time?
Yes.
Because we feel threatened about many things. I mean, I've journaled endless pages about fear of success.
Yeah.
We're even afraid to step up and step out. I mean, how much are we constantly sort of living in that survival space and not really even coming from like a place of rationale? I think it's taken a lot of work to kind of even get to that place of calm self-talk.
I know.
It's all about the amygdala and all about
I was just gonna say that.
Darn amygdala.
I was just gonna say
the
that.
amygdala hijack that
Yeah.
they talk about, where I watched a video. I'm not going to just explain it right though. Well, maybe I am, but it was a threat of being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Can we say that?
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
And but now it's not that. Now it's this threat is the coworker who made a nasty comment or the boss who said you're not a top performer anymore.
Right.
But in our brain, we're equating that to like death,
Yeah.
imminent
Yes.
death. And so we go and we get triggered and
Yeah.
then we respond. So we have to be careful because hopefully we have enough brain activity where it goes, wait a minute, but that's my boss. It's not a saber-toothed
Yeah.
tiger. And I can't, I don't want to lose my job over this. So you have to it's hard though.
Yeah. That reminds me of the movie The Water Boy. You guys ever see that movie with Adam Sandler?
I did it.
He gets amygdala. What is it? Say it.
Amygdala
Hijacked, and he would just tackle. It's such a good movie. I wish you guys would see it. And he would always defend that way when he's in fear, or like he's a football player, but he was little special needs, right? So every time like they were chasing him or something, that would kick in. His amygdala would kick in, and he would tackle, and he became one of the best, in this crazy, silly movie. But that is such a big thing. That is such a big thing, and so we're programmed to fear. So it really is hardwired in us. So what was the last thing you feared besides your car trauma?
Oh gosh. I mean, really just reflecting on how so many things nowadays do feel like a threat. I mean, and I wonder how much of that is just post-2020, post-2001 world. And I was just having this conversation about how everybody sort of feels defensive now. Everybody's sort of on edge. Everybody's on guard. Everybody's ready to defend themselves. Why are we here? This is just a lot of information and a lot of noise coming from the world. I hate to always blame that, but for me, that's what it feels like. And it feels like we're all in that bad space because we're all just trying to like self-preserve in a way. But and then thinking of how like if the rational brain shuts off, then what are we all doing? We're all just kind of waiting to pounce.
Yeah, reacting.
Back to my lion.
And that's so true. And I love what Carolyn said about the boss, the co-worker, because we get like that, and we don't get like that to pounce on them. We get like that we're inadequate. We're not good enough. So we become fearful, like, maybe I'm not as great as I thought I was. Do you agree with that, Denise?
Yeah, I think, we're self-protecting all the time. We're scanning, and I think we're set up to do that, to scan for danger. And I think, again, it's our perceptions. If we perceive danger, we're going to be anxious, we're going to be fearful, defensive, right? And I think all of our senses are involved with that. What we hear, I hear my coworkers talking about me down the row, or, what we see, what we feel. We all have that sense that we pick up on things aren't right. So I think it's in us.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so funny. I tend to do that when I go in a room, and I don't know if I do it because of fear. I do it to see who my spirit most vibe with. Like, I don't know if that's a part of fear. I don't just go in there and sit next to you. If I like. If I do sit next to you, I probably won't talk the first few hours because I'm feeling people out. I don't know why I do that. I don't know if it's a fear mechanism, but that's what I do. And then I'll recognize my tribe, and then that's where I lead to. Do you find that? What do you think that is? Is that fear or self-mechanism?
Yes, a little probably insecurity, and then looking for safety. I had this, conversation recently where it's like, can we all recognize that we all feel insecure? Every single one of us has a story of feeling left out of place, alienated, all of those type of things. And I think the more we realize that, the more we can kind of humble ourselves to say, like, we're all trying our best. Maybe we should all just relax, put the armor down, and just see each other as this more human versus this thing I think we're all putting up a little bit.
And I love to ask this question. Is it from childhood? Where does this stuff come from?
I think we pick it up along the road, I don't think everything's from childhood. I think there are certain maybe core wounds, especially if we had, trauma and stuff. But I think it's all just, like a wagon that's riding the road picks up pebbles. And I think we just pick stuff up along the way. And some of it's personality. Some of us have more resilient personalities, are more outgoing. And then maybe people who are shy or might pick up more or not express it or not unload it, or right.
I agree with that.
I think we're all always looking for our tribe where we feel the most safe.
Oh yeah.
We're so ready to protect, protect ourselves, protect our young ones, protect whoever, and so fear plays a part in that. We don't want anybody getting hurt,
No.
and if you're a compassionate person, you really like look out for others and try not to put your fear on others, right? And stuff. So, what was the last fear thing that you feared you overcame?
I had a really bad fear a couple of weeks ago, and it just came out of nowhere, and there was no basis for it. But I feared that my older daughter, there was something wrong, and I couldn't overcome it. I mean, I was literally in tears. I was in the gym, and I had my other daughter with me, and then I tried to call her, and she didn't answer the phone. And of course, by the time I was done, it had escalated in my mind, really high. And so I was able to get in touch with her. I was able to overcome it, but I still didn't. I left feeling I don't understand why I felt that.
Yeah.
There was no rhyme or reason for that.
Remember earlier when I said you have one thought and the fear, they're like this waiting on you to pounce.
Yes.
That's what happened to you.
That one got me bad that day. I was like, what is going on?
They
Because
got
I'm usually
you.
not like that. I'm not a worrier.
Yeah,
Really. So I don't know if that's a good example, but
that was.
yeah.
I'm glad she's okay. Carolyn, what's your answer? What was the last time you overcame fear?
Can I say overcoming? Because I think it's like a
Overcoming,
work
yeah.
in progress. I have a lot of chronic pain, and I can start the whole fortune telling thing about like, oh, when I get older, how bad is it going to be, and and so I've been working really hard on just like, this is what it is now. It doesn't mean anything. There's lots of stuff we can do, so I've just been working on that. But that can paralyze me, and then I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt, and I'm going to have another area of pain. It can be bad.
Yeah. So you're overcoming that.
I'm
fear.
working on it.
Yeah. So last night I was at the gym and they had a push-up contest, and I wasn't gonna do it because I'm like, I'm really new to the gym. I don't want people I don't want to fall out after the 10 count and stuff. So I wasn't gonna do it. And a friend of mine was like a new friend too. She was like, "Come on, Joan, let's do it. We could do it together." And I'm like, maybe not, because I had literally just finished doing arms, just doing upper body.
Jeez.
And then I was like, she was like, come on. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And then I was like, why am I going to fear if I fail in front of these people? It doesn't matter. At least I tried, So we're there and we're doing it. He got up to 30, the count 30, and they all fell out, and I was the only one left. And I was like, I did it, and that was such a great moment, of trying. How you won't win if you're not in it, right? So I had to overcome those negative thoughts, which weren't many because we didn't have time for that day. It was just like, listen, either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They really don't even know you that well, so it's okay,
Yes.
And to have accomplished that and to, get the free Amazon card that I won was awesome. So
Congrats.
that was so good. So that's me learning still. Overcoming, still learning how to say, listen, it's going to be all right. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do it. Whatever que sera. What will be, will be. Tips to conquer fear. Tell our audience some tips.
I love that because we went really deep in this one and really expansive, but at the same time, the simplicity of just saying, you know what, right now we're not going to choose this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be simple,
Yeah.
and let's have that reminder too. It could be very deep and very layered and very nuanced, and sometimes it could just be simple as being like, not today.
Yeah, not today. Not right now.
I like that.
Yeah. Carolyn, any tips?
Well, they say being in gratitude helps with anxiety, and I think it would help with fear too. Mm-hmm. When you start to have a fear spiral, maybe just start thinking about what you're grateful for, and I think it can stop that.
I love that.
Trust. I mean, we talked about trust before, and just trusting the process that you're in, that the outcome will be good, it'll be positive, and, trusting in that.
Just letting go, knowing that what will be, will be. Don't fear anything. Don't have time for it. Oh, just, most of the time that we sit in fear and we have negative thought is because we have time for it. I'm not doing anything right now. So come on, negative talk. Come on,
That's
fear.
such a good point. Yeah.
And so get busy. When you find yourself sitting there and fear and negativity comes to visit, do something else. Turn on some dance music. Get a book. Do something else to distract you from them, and they will go away.
Yes.
They're false evidence appearing real. They just come to just trouble you for no reason at all. Don't get into your emotions. That's when we get into our emotions, like, they don't like me, and that's a whole lot of thing. And like Donna said, we're still working on that. All right, so let that go. Trust that you're gonna be all right. Trust that everything is gonna work out for your good. Trust that, listen, this is just for a moment, come to disturb your peace. Let it go.
And I think also too, calling it out.
Calling it
Is
out.
this, nobody likes me. Is that actually true? Yeah, that one little question really changes it for me. So is that really true?
And that's so right, because it'd be one person that said one thing and they don't really even matter, but we make them matter so much that we're like, okay, it's so true. Nobody likes me, And all she said was something simple, but we make it and we expand it and we blow it up and we investigate it and we magnify it and everything else, just so, and it just get bigger, expansive in our mind, like, oh, I can't believe this. That's what you did with your daughter. You blew it up, you magnified it, you went to a different place, you went to your detective place and all this stuff. And it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. So when you're going there, just leave it. Say, I'm letting this go. Not today. I don't have time for that, Right, Carolyn? I don't have time for that.
No, we don't.
And you just move on and you let go. The only thing we have to fear, it's fear itself, right? And we talked a little bit, we touched on what fear was, how fear feels, the feeling, emotions. We talked about that. And why are we fearful? What are we fearful for? We always think we have to prove something to someone else. We always think we have to do something to show how big and bold we are, but you really don't. Just be your authentic self. Be you. And don't worry about what other people think about you. It's easy to say, but it's a work in process. Progress. So are you going to work towards it? We're here to help. We're here to encourage. We're here to inspire you. We're here to motivate you. We're here to lift you up. We're here to love on you and let you know that you're going to be all right. So what you got to do, all you got to do is receive, right?
That's right.
You just got to receive these tips from these awesome women, all right? And who are they?
Donna Hutchinson.
Carolyn Poiker.
Denise Cavalier.
And I am Dr. Joan Coleman, and this is The Exchange. Carolyn, can you give them our email?
Yep, we have a new email, theexchangepodcastnj@gmail.com. Send us a comment, ask a question, give us a topic. We'd love to hear from you.
And check us out. We're on Facebook, the Exchange Facebook page, CNJ Facebook page. We're on CNJN TV. We're everywhere. Tell your friends to tell their friends to tell their friends and watch us, all right? And listen to us. We're on Anchor FM and we're on Spotify. And this is The Exchange. We'll see you next time. Bye.